Hello YouTube, this is Western Kansas Prepper here with a little update video on my garden. We started with that container. This is another container that I've started. Has a few herbs in it, some basil, some oregano, and some chives. They're starting to pop up. They're still pretty small. Remember that container that I had going? Here's that again. As you can see, at this point they've all sprouted pretty nicely. They're all starting to reach up toward the light, so they're doing good. I've got several good prospects started there. A few of them didn't start, but most of them did. So I'll probably let those get a little bigger, a little hardier. You can see on these, this is a good example. You see these two leaves here. Those are the birth leaves that are not critical to the plant. This is the first leaf here. This is what they call the true leaf. When the true leaf comes up, then the plant's sort of ready to go. You can see there's another true leaf. These, see, just have the first starter leaves. Typically, when I transplant these, I'm going to bury the plant above where those true, or pretty close to where those true leaves are, those first non-true leaves are. Because they're not critical. They're just to get the plant going. The regular leaves are designed to do more. So that's that container, which has got tomatoes and cucumbers, if you recall, some herbs at the bottom, some oregano and some basil, but it's going pretty good. And here, there's patches. Got some plants I bought from the store. Go out here. See, I got a lot of clover going on in my yard. By the way, we got a lot of dandelion going on. That's perfectly edible, dandelion. Good to add to your salads. It's okay. Now, this is what I'm going to show you is my lazy man's garden. How I do this. I think this is a radish plant from last year, so that's good. I have a few other plants that sort of survived. Like here, this is arugula. It's going pretty good, and there's some Swiss chard, some other lettuce. But again, I didn't plant these. These are from seeds that just were left over from the garden last year. I emptied all this topsoil in there to improve the soil quality a little bit, and I'm going to use this stuff. Called weed block. This is what helps me to do my garden very lazily. And what I'll do is I'll just take this stuff, I'll roll it across the garden here, and when I get it going, I'll take these tent stakes, throw those in there. Of course, Kansas, you know, see the wind already blew this back. So, you know, I'm going to put it over my plant there. Put my stake in here to hold this down. I'm going to put another, see, it wants to blow there. That's the key. Put another stake in over here. Now, where my plant was, I got to kind of remember, which is right here. Put this down for a second. And now I'm just going to take this, I'm going to tear it open. Great. Sorry about that. Okay, you can see now I've torn it open, giving the plant some light area, and just trying to keep it close to the roots. But I'm going to tear that so that it has a place to tear around it. Get rid of a good chunk of fabric under there. And you can see now I've got a little indenture made for it. Again, the wind's still going to go, so. But I will do the same thing with those other plants over there. When I'm done with this, it's taking a little while. I'm going to take hose, which is a soaker hose. Got laid out here. I'm going to lay this across on top of the weed blocker. Last year I tried to put it under it, didn't work as well, got too muddy. Put it on top and clogged it up a little bit. I'm going to lay it on top of the weed block as it goes across. And then I'm going to put it on a timer at my hose. And it's on a timer every day. It's going to soak it early in the morning, maybe a little again in the afternoon. And the only thing I need to do is miss the leaves every once in a while because the Kansas wind will dry them out. But again, I don't have to tend it that often. If I do this, the weed blocker is going to take care of the weeds. The soaker hose is on an automatic timer. So pretty much just need to stick my head in every once in a while, make sure things are not tipped over or whatever, and it should take care of itself. Obviously, the weed blocker and stuff is stuff that would not be around in an HSTF situation. Probably, I wouldn't recommend you stock up on weed blocker if we're in that type of scenario. Just don't be lazy and just go ahead and weed it yourself. Get your hoe or your rake or whatever and take the weeds out. For right now, though, I'm going to do it the easy way, and we're going to do it this way. So I'm going to stop the video here. I may make another video after I'm done. Okay, here we are in stage 2. You can tell it's quite a bit darker. Got my flashlight out here. This area obviously still needs a lot of work. This is where I grew corn last time. You see I have this chicken wire up all around it so that she doesn't get into it. Seems to keep her out and the other critters. I grew some things in this part of the garden too. But my project today, of course, is over here. Here we are now. You can see I have all the weed block, or most of it, down. I may put a little more over here, a little more over there, but I've got most of it down. And I also have down this hose, which you can see is soaker hose. And this is the same one I used last year. So I plugged it back in, checked it for any defects. It seems to still be working fine. So again, this time I'm laying it on top of this setup. I believe last time I put it underneath because I didn't want her to mess with it. And this time she doesn't seem to be bothering it, so I think she's grown up a little bit. This weed blocker I put down, I'm supposed to put it down with these tabs. You can see there I have a little green tab that it's a tent peg basically, and you just jam it in there. I usually loop them. I usually fold them one over the other. So there's one strip on top of the other. You can see how in the middle there's the dirt, but you just sort of lap them on top of each other. There's where I found an onion that was growing, so I just cut a hole. That way you can see that, but I cut a hole so that you can see it. And I did the same thing over here for my other pre-existing plants. Again, you can see the mesclun there that I cut a hole for. And then I saw some little plants here. I cut around that. That looks like the start of a lettuce plant, and here I've got another one. And I took these. I ran out of these tent stakes, so I just took this shitty tree I have here, this little Chinese elm, which is kind of it's kind of an obnoxious plant. But I just cut off some pieces of it and used those for tent stakes. You see here I've staked it with all those little branches, and around the plants I've put some smaller stakes so it'll hold the hole around them. That's my Swiss chard that was still survived the winter apparently. So it's okay. Got another onion over there. But other than that, this is my setup. Again, very easy to maintain. All you do is put it on a timer and it'll rock and roll. There's the other thing I cut around, this radish or lettuce. So that'll be that. Put all my plants in there. Sounds like some children are messing with a dog. Anyway, so you can see it's coming along. And I'll probably plant tomatoes again in this neck of the woods. Again, I got it surrounded by chicken wire and little poles. Might expand into here, I don't know. Right now I'm just going to leave it as it is. So, I had the debate, I'm going to go inside now. I had the debate about, do I want to go all natural, or do I want to use pesticides, insecticides, those kind of things. And, you know, I really gave it a good try with the organic way. Again, there's the stuff I bought at the store today. Just a couple of odds and ends, some other kinds of lettuce. There's my sprouts again. You can see them a little better maybe than the first time. I really went all natural. I had natural pests. I literally bought ladybugs and praying mantises and threw them around in my garden. And just stick around with my plants, I guess. You know, that went well for a while. You know, the ladybugs ate the aphids. I tried to weed it, you know, conscientiously. And then I learned something about western Kansas, or at least out where I'm at. There's a bug called the migratory grasshopper. And that bug, none of my pests were killing it. And they are like a plague out here. They just come up and they just decimated everything I had the first year I tried it, natural. Had to switch to pesticides to kill those guys. I had no other way to get rid of them. They were just because I live out here in the boonies. They're in the fields around here, so I went ahead and killed them that way. And next year I just didn't want to mess with those migratory grasshoppers. So I don't know. If somebody got a good way to kill migratory grasshoppers naturally, let me know. But I sure as hell didn't have any way that I could figure. So this is it. This is Western Kansas Prepper. I'm going to be signing off from here, but let me know what you think about the start of my setup here.